All right, guys, let's get right into it. I think everybody knows to use the raised hands feature. As I said, we'll have about 30 minutes here with Coach. I know you guys got a lot of ground to cover, so the floor is yours. We'll go ahead and start off with Kyle Tucker with The Athletic. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, Cal, I was just kind of wondering your thoughts on the evolution of college basketball staffs as the game keeps changing. Obviously, Saban and football sort of revolutionized that sport with those huge staffs of analysts and special assistants kind of focusing on really specific areas. So, for instance, for you all, does a college staff now need full-time people monitoring the transfer market? Do you need to be building a name, image, and likeness department for when all that pops and some of those things?
We're right now in the middle of developing that part of our staff. This is the changes that are coming at us are coming so fast, and most of it is falling right on the coaches. It just, we'll make a rule, here's the rule, and then we have to deal with what that rule is. This should happen, and this is why it should happen, and then the end result is us dealing with it. So yes, Kyle, I think every coach right now is trying to figure out how do we structure everything to make this happen. And so yeah, we're creating and combining, and we just got back from a staff retreat. And part of it was, okay, how are we going to make sure that we stay on top of this? And right now, it's Eric and I talked about it last night. Some guys are naming positions in college basketball, but they don't know what that guy's going to do yet because the rule hasn't been passed of what it really means. And so we're like, okay, what exactly, as this comes through, will he have to do? Player welfare is going to be a big part of it, which includes name, image, and likeness, which includes branding, which includes stuff that we've done. Here's the thing. All this stuff, the transfer stuff, I was never for. I thought they needed to do something, because an 18-year-old who played behind two NBA players, but didn't, all of a sudden he said, I could have had the ball more, I'm leaving. And where after his freshman year, when he gets through it, and then he's into his sophomore year, there were things that I thought would make it better for the players, for college basketball. Like right now, transfers should not panic anyone in college basketball. Guys, can anybody tell me how many schools have had 6 or more players transfer this year? It's over 130. 130 schools have had over 6 players. It may be higher. That was 2 weeks ago, maybe 150. So how we do our own players, like, yeah, we're worried about, transfer port, but our own guys, to keep them informed of what's going on in our relationships and stuff that, kind of broke down. But now kids transferring, it's almost like, who's going to do it? Okay, I understand. And okay, now who are we getting? Where 4 years ago, if 5 players transferred from a team, everybody would go crazy. The program's crumbling. Well, then 150 programs are crumbling. So it's a different day, really, how you evaluate what's going on. I mean, let me throw one thing on the name, image, and likeness. We're not, obviously we have to wait to see exactly what the rules state. But no one should be able to do it better than our basketball program for men's basketball. 2 years ago, TV wise, our ratings were, and before the pandemic, our ratings would rank third in the NBA, or fourth. I'm sorry, three. Golden State, the Lakers, and Cleveland with LeBron would be above our ratings. So all the social media stuff, all that we do and all that we can do, in my mind, should be the best in the country. So, and again, I'll just throw one other thing that you're not thinking about. We're also competing against other leagues trying to take high school players and pay high school player. I mean, we're not just competing against we're competing against that too, because there's the kids they're going after are the kids that we would recruit. So now the retreat got a little deeper than just, okay, who are we picking and rolling with?
Larry Vaught, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, good morning, John. You went from a couple of weeks ago to having no point guards on the roster to now looking like you've got a really nice blend of those two guys. Could you just talk about those two guys and kind of how you project and what you see for them?
Well, first of all, when Nolan, the pandemic, being away from home for the first time, close-knit family, coach, I don't think I want to go that far away, and I get it. And so now all of a sudden, you're right. We had no point guard, and then Ty, who is where the league is going right now, the NBA, which is, they have point guards, but they're not set up point guards. They're players who happen to have the ball a lot, who can score, who can do more than just get them into offense. But Ty, Severe, you look at these guys now, he's more of a, I'm going to get everybody involved in this. I'm going to speed the game up. I'm going to throw it ahead. But Kellen also played point guard. Matter of fact, the first year when we played Davidson in the NCAA tournament, he was the point guard, got 16 against us as a freshman. But he also is a scorer, averaged 17 over 4 years. And then CJ is a scorer, has a shot that you must have nowadays, which is that floater runner that, because he shoots nearly 50% from the three, spreads the court. And, it's like he can create that way too. And then you have Davion, who at the end of the year, we looked at and said, wow, his numbers as a point guard, assist to turnover ratio and other things weren't bad either.
Ben Roberts, will go to you, and then Ian Begley after that.
Hey, John, you just mentioned you're recruiting against other pro leagues now, and it seems inevitable that you're going to run up against the G League probably with this upcoming class. What do you tell a kid? What do you tell a kid's family when they have a $200,000, $500,000 offer on the table? How do you sell Kentucky basketball against that?
Well, now you have name, image, and likeness. So it changes that for us too. But here's the thing. The G League last year, the Ignite team, their TV ratings, compared to what we do, I'll just give you a player, Cade Cunningham, who I loved. Cade Cunningham could have done that, but he went to college. Forget about just Kentucky. Think about college. He went to college, and he went to Oklahoma State. Cade Cunningham, his whole, not just basketball and what it did for him, his brand, his ability to take advantage of that on the market is through the roof. And he was in Oklahoma, and I'm saying Oklahoma State, and a great program. I mean, and they're in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And that happened for him. And I say, now you think about Kentucky and what that means if that guy comes here. Or I'll give you another one. You look at guys that, go to another school, and I'm not even mentioning Kentucky. They go to another school and all of a sudden they explode. What would have happened if they went to the pro league and now their marketing dollars aren't the same? You could lose, hundreds of millions of dollars. So here's what I keep saying. If kids want to do that or families are set, I have no problem. I mean, that's fine. We need kids here that aren't coming here that I got to play 35 minutes and take 35 shots and I got to be the only guy on the team. And that ain't good. That's not our culture here and never will be. You got to come here and fight for what you want. When I see Emmanuel Quickly playing and doing the things he's doing, you think about that kid's fight and what he did. The kids that fight through this end up making it. And their brand is built over time. And so, I don't really think we're competing. If a kid has an interest in that, he's not coming to Kentucky. If that is just my opinion. If they look at this and say the overall picture, we call it the Kentucky effect. I mean, the shoe contracts are more, the endorsements are more. You may name a player that went to college, and I say to you, if he went to one of the pro leagues, what would it have done for him? Now they may say, well, we're going to build it. Well, I'm talking right now. So maybe in 5 years it's different, but it isn't right now. So, yes, they're out there. Yes, some kids are going to do it. Yes, and I'm fine with it. There may be kids that I'd encourage to do it. But the others, that want this will be fine.
Ian, let's go to you, and then Barkley with the Colonel after that.
Hey, John, I'm up here in New York, which is Lexington North these days. And so I could ask you a million questions, but I wanted to ask you about Derek just because he's been playing so well since he got here. Does anything about how he's adapted his game or what his game looks like now surprise you, or how well he's playing? Does that surprise you at all? And what do you think about it?
Well, let me say that I was on with Leon last night, and I said, how about my man D Rose? And Leon just said, can you imagine, this kid hasn't aged? It's like you're watching it. And I think the playoffs for him, you'll even see more. Ian, do you know why I say that? There's no back-to-back games. Okay? Back-to-back games, you had to watch minutes. My son is telling me, we're watching, he's played 30 minutes, he has 26 points. He was going like, and to see, one, that he's a great teammate, he's never changed. Two, he'll create for teammates, yet he'll take over the game if he has to. When he feels we need baskets and I'm the best to do it, he does it. If he thinks someone else gets it going, Julius. If he wants to throw a lob to Nerlens Noel, if he wants Emmanuel Quickly in the open court to go shoot that runner, I mean, he is not, it has to be me. That's not who he is. It is us winning. And I've seen him drag teams. He dragged our team. He made everybody on the team better. That's who he is. But I'm so happy for him. Like, I'm ecstatic.
Barkley, let's go to you, and then Ken Spencer, I'll hit you after that.
Good morning, Coach. You talked a little bit about the transfer portal already. Kentucky's definitely been a team that's taking advantage of the new automatic transfer rule. I'm kind of wondering what are the differences in bringing in a top transfer than maybe a top high school recruit, and what are the benefits of that program?
You got jumbled a little bit. I'm trying to see. Here's what I would say. If we go out and we get the kids that we want to recruit, and we take Reed, we take Nate, we take that kind of player to do this and fill in. This year was different. This year we had injuries, we had, shortages, we had a couple transfers. All of a sudden, thank goodness that we could tap into that market. But it's not something that we're saying that we're just going to live by it. But there are kids, again, you're transferring. How about you transfer from a place where you're having the ball, you're not really having to guard, or you're taking all the shots, and you choose to come to Kentucky? That says a lot about you as a player, which is, I'm not worried about all that. I want to see how good I can be. I want to be on the biggest stage and see if we can win a championship. I want more than just that. Some players want that. I want to be the only guy. I want to play my minutes, and I don't care about it because I'm trying to show those are not the kids that come here. And so you talk about all the kids that came here that could have gone other places, could have gone an easier road, could have gone to a place that would guarantee them things, and they came here. So this is a different place for that. But this year, it's good. I'm not sure where it will go going forward, but we'll be evaluating. And that's, I'm just going to veer off here. That's why I keep coming back to, as the NCAA, we have to be able to be nimble and pivot with all this stuff we're doing that's changing the game. You can't have it take 2 years to change something that had unintended consequences, whether it's the portal, whether it's name, image, and likeness. We may need to turn on a dime. Right now, it's like you're on an aircraft carrier. You need to be on a speedboat the next 3 years because we don't know where any of this stuff is going. And I'm guessing like everybody else. And my thoughts are always going to be 3 or 4 years out what this looks like with all the leagues and all the stuff and all the transfers and the change of my staff. How do we take advantage? How do we stay the gold standard in all this? Do you honestly think now, all of you there, that people are watching how we deal with this? They are. How are we going to deal with transfers? How are we going to deal with name, image, and likeness? What are we going to do with this? And schools are watching. But if you're looking at this saying it's the same as it was and I'm not changing, you're going to have a problem.
Guys, we're a little more than halfway through this. I'm doing my best to get around the room. Let's go to Kent and then Jerry Tipton.
John, you mentioned the change in staff, the retreat, trying to kind of change with the times a little bit. How much was what happened to you guys last year a motivator? And do you think maybe the program, was it getting stale? Did it need kind of a reset?
I don't. Look, if anything went south on us, it's on me. It's not on any staff member. Tony going to Central, he wanted to be a head coach. He turned down a job a couple of years ago that I didn't think he should have turned down. And he needed to be a head coach. He is, I love him. He is a great basketball mind. He wanted to be a head coach. Now he has that opportunity. Joel was in a situation where he wanted to move up. Joel did a great job of getting us involved with kids, the relationships, the work he spent, and now he's at Arizona State in that role and with the terrific coach in Coach Hurley. So no, it wasn't based on that, but it gives us a chance to regroup and look at how do I want to do this going forward. So yes, it played a part, but it's not why things happen. The other side of it is the positions that Kyle is talking about, the player welfare. Who is that? What's his role? What are his strengths? What can he do for the kids? How is he tied? Someone's got to be in communication and tied a little bit as an information center. You ready? For parents. For parents. Many times a kid transfers it's not him wanting to, it's his family saying you need to, and you got to get more shots, or, how do we stay connected with them? But there's a lot going on, and, I'm excited about what we're doing and where it is, and, the kind of team we've pieced together. But it's, a lot of work to do. I mean, now we got to get this summer. And, one of the things I knew the summer was important to us. I never realized how important. Sometimes you get to where, well, when I start coaching them, and I'll coach them up. Well, I've always said I don't have a magic wand, and last year kind of proved it, would you say? The second thing is what we do when they come back to campus, how we start doing what we're doing. This summer, we're getting back to getting involved in communities. We're going to take the team in groups to different parts of the state for some community work, just to touch people for both the state of Kentucky. But I want these players to realize the impact that they have in our state. You understand that this is important to our state, and it's about bringing people together, doing things to make a difference for people's lives, not trying to separate. The second piece of this is the camps that we did, the satellite camps. I never realized how it gave our kids a chance to touch other young kids and have them see their importance, but also to be able to get into 10 more different communities and see it. The conditioning, the weight strength, making them uncomfortable, getting them to understand about team. How about this? Being at my house once a week, cooking out, swimming. We got rid of the trampoline, but having things that we didn't do any of that. None. Well, guess what? We get back on campus. First thing we're going to do is we're going to the house. Having them stay at my house on weekends. And so we couldn't do anything. I never realized the importance, but this showed me the importance. And so, there are a lot of things that we weren't able to do that we get back to, which is part of that process.
Jerry, we'll go to you, and then John Wong.
John, I just want. Is it me?
Yeah, you got a little bit of an echo. Try to make it short.
Sorry. John, what's the status of Davion, Keion, Isaiah, and Lance in terms of coming back? And how confident are you that the SEC will waive the requirement of transfers within the conference to sit out a season?
Well, Davion and Isaiah are going through that process that we support of all of our kids. And so when they have a decision to make, they will make that. But they get their opportunity. And the only thing that's changed for them that made it's a struggle is that the teams have not started working out players yet. So they haven't been able to have them on their site to really give them those situations. So that's a struggle for it. As far as the SEC stuff, the entire country has given these kids the ability to transfer wherever, and every league has. I can't imagine we'd be able to do anything different, but I'm not in that room talking about it or voting. You probably have to ask Mitch. And Lance and Keion are going to be big players for us. I mean, and everything seems good, and everybody's getting back on campus. I believe tomorrow is when they start coming in. So, we'll have a team full of guys to get ready for what we're doing.
John Wong, will go to you, then Nick Roush, and then maybe one or two more after that.
Hey, John, I hope you're doing well. I'm a big mental health advocate, and I've been wanting to ask you this all last season, but the timing was just never right. But I know that UK has so many support systems to address the mental health of the student athletes. And yet the reality is that the incidence of depression, anxiety, even suicides continues to escalate. As somebody who works with young people all the time, why do you think that is? And maybe even more importantly, what can we as media members do to maybe decrease the stigma associated with these mental health conditions?
John, I'm not an expert on why it would be rising. I would tell you this pandemic rocked everybody when it, not being like with you guys, where we're not able to sit in the room at the table and look at each other. I mean, we're doing it this way. I mean, there's no interaction, personal interaction. Last year with our players, I just went through everything we do so they know they have someone to talk to, fall back on, that loves them, that cares about them, that's going to hold them accountable, that's going to tell them the truth, that they can trust that you're going to be told the truth. All that stuff plays into feeling you're alone. You're by yourself. My teams have never played that way. Last year, we kind of played that way. We started getting better. And guys, I told Eric last night, the crazy thing is I stopped thinking about record because all I focused on was each individual player in my team. I didn't look at power rankings or anything. We had a league meeting and they had the power rankings. We were anywhere from 45 to 60. I mean, our power ranking wasn't 200. Our power ranking wasn't 150. We weren't that far off, yet we were never together. And I think it affected everybody's play on our team. And you may say, well, why your team and not other? We had 10 new players. With Keion being out, Keion played 23. What did he play per game after he came back? 24 minutes? What was it? Eric, 24 minutes?
Yeah, the loss in 24, yep.
So, but with him out, that vacuum of leadership, the vacuum of a kind of go-to, made this hard. And then when he came back and started playing, because he hadn't played for so long, it was hard. And the first Florida game and some of the games that he did, that kind of stuff where you don't have that guy that they can lean on. You're playing bad, you go to his room and you sit down and talk, and he says, look, I've been through it. I know what this is. You're fine. You got to fight. Everyone that fights here makes it. The guys that choose another, it's just not worked. Now, it may work. Because this new transfer thing is a different deal. But to this point, it hadn't worked. And you may say, well, this guy's going to, let's see in 3 years how this all plays out, and we'll know. Knowing how to fight, knowing that you got 40% left in the tank, knowing that that's not the end of the world, knowing you have someone to go to. We had players last year meeting with some psychologists. We did. I mean, it was, forget, you guys think in terms of just winning and losing, but players got better. Look, even you talk about Isaiah. How many minutes per game did Isaiah play?
Just over 20.
I wanted to meet. Did you guys know he played 20 minutes a game? And they're talking about him being a possible lottery pick. He played 20 minutes a game. But there were times where, for him and others, that this got overwhelming. And then no fans, not being able to interact. You may say, well, what about fans? The fans push our team when it gets a little hairy. They make them feel good about themselves. They make them feel like they're special. None of that last year. None of it. And so, John, that's part of the thing with what's going on these campuses. That the other side, how about you get out of college your senior year or your freshman year, and it's by Zoom. Your classes are online. How about you get out now and the job market is nil? I mean, this stuff for these young people did any of us have to go through what we just went through? What would, if we were 18 or 19 and had to go through what these students went through? These kids 18. It's overwhelming. And I don't want any of the campuses to get away from, they're not right yet. We just went through Ben passing away and then Terrence. I mean, you throw that onto the plate of these kids. And that's why I was doing as many individuals as I could do. And, but at the end of the day, I'm not a quote professional. Sometimes that needs to be involved in this.
Guys, just a few more minutes here. Go with Nick and then Lonnie.
John, last year you had, I think, the youngest team in college basketball, but this year you'll probably have your oldest team you've ever had at Kentucky. What does that change for what you can do and how you just approach coaching them?
You know what? I don't know yet. Like, I'm hoping that we can put more on their plate. I've always tried to empower my teams. Well, to empower the team, they got to have great leaders. They got to have kids that have been through it, that want to take it on. When you empower a team, it's more free flowing than we had to go last year. Last year was, I had to create something for someone somewhere on the court. Well, it's really hard. It's hard for them. It's hard for the coaches. Second thing is, we coached a way to stay in games. I've never coached that way. I can't remember, other than my first couple years at UMass, where I coached just to stay in the game and give us a chance to win at the end. And when you're coaching an empowered team, you're not playing that way. You're playing. You're playing to smash people. You're playing to, we get up 20, let's get up 30. So, I mean, when you're an empowered team, you can do that. And the guys that we brought in to give us some aid, some graduate students, have really helped the program. It has. But I don't know yet until I get this team and get them on the court. And what I really want to do is play with 4 guys out, 5 guys out, and, being able to, and again, in the past, you had a Brandon, you had the Harrisons, you had Bookers, you had Jamal, you had, I'm probably missing names of Duran Lamb, guys quickly, the guys that could really flat shoot the ball. And we've always had that. You need that. Now, I won't sacrifice just plain shooting for everything else. Like, if you can't guard and you're a turnover machine, but you can shoot, hard to play here. I want guys like we have had who can shoot, but you can guard. You're not those kind of players, because at the bottom line here is we're trying to win, and that's winning basketball. But I want to play faster with this group. I want to shoot more threes with this group. I want to play 4 out with this group. But we're going to have to see when we get them here exactly how we'll do it. Who's going to take it out? Do you take it out with, a guy that's a playmaker, or do you take it out with a bigger guy? I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And Eric, I'll answer a few more questions because I've kind of talked a little bit, so probably cut some people off. So if there's a couple more, I'll answer them.
Okay. Go ahead, Lonnie, and then John, I'll get to you. Lonnie, you there? Gotta unmute yourself.
Go ahead, Eric.
All right, Lonnie, there you go, Lonnie.
Yeah, John. I want to make it as short as I can because I know we're kind of running out of time. I know you got to be somewhat satisfied or happy at this point with your situation with your guards. However, I want to ask you about one particular player. When is the last time, or have you ever had somebody that's brilliant, enthusiastic, intelligent, and all the things that seems to come out of severe Wheeler? He transmits a whole lot of. I know you've heard. I know you've dealt with him personally, but we have dealt with him on our Zoom calls. And this young man, he just exudes confidence and intelligence and all that. How do you see him fitting in what you want to do?
We've had a kid like him that was a little different than him, Tyler Eulis, who could impact the game and was smaller now. The talks that he and I have had, it's all been about, okay, how do we add to what you have that helps you? Here's what I need for you to do to help our team. This is how I need you to play. Here's how we need to help you get where you're trying to go. And it was the same things we talked to Tyler Eulis about. Obviously, Tyler was drafted and played in the league, and he's had 2 hip surgeries, which have set him back, but he's still on that one. Here's a kid that was smaller and lighter. So I'm excited about it. I mean, again, until we get all these guys here and see how these pieces match, you just don't know. I mean, we're going to have basically 6 guards with Dante. And again, there's going to be competition. You know what was great? None of them cared who was there. They're not looking for anything. They want to be at Kentucky and they want to compete. Those are the guys that have made it here. I mean, I remember when we recruited Eric Bledsoe. And Eric said, you bring John Wall. That doesn't bother me. He's another good player. I'm not afraid. Let's go. And that's the kind of guys that come here and do it. And I always say, if I'm in the home of a kid and I'm recruiting him and he says, well, what about this guy or that guy or that guy? And I go, I must be in the wrong home. I thought I'm in the home of one of the best players in the country, and you're worried about this, that, and the other. Maybe I'm not in the right place. I mean, you're going to compete. Look, Pat Riley said it. The best thing about the players from here, they learn to be great teammates. They learn to fight and compete and fight for what they want. They learn to bet on themselves. That's what you do when you come here. You bet on yourself. I mean, I know I look at this team and we all think that, okay, this is what should be happening. At the end of the day, I'm rooting for these kids to bust out and do their thing. And, we've got a good group. We got some veterans, we haven't talked about Oscar, who gives us, strength and physicalness and shoots it better than I thought shoots it. You got Keion. This should be Keion's year. I mean, Keion's numbers, what were his numbers last year, Eric?
Can you hear me? Sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Keion was sorry, I'm pulling it up right now. Keion averaged a little over 10 points and 7 rebounds.
All right, so that thing's got to go up. That's got to go up. And how many minutes did he play per game?
A little less than 24.
So 24 minutes, that should go up. He's that veteran that you're saying you got to be the center of this. But he's got to do it. He's got to fight. He's got to. And the greatest thing that's happening, these kids are all watching all these NBA games. What we teach and how you have to play, that you must be a downhill runner. You must play through bumps. You have to shoot the ball to a certain degree, because if you don't shoot it, that league has now it's a shooter's league. It's turned more, you ready, folks, from just plain athleticism to skill. It's become a skill league. And so now, quick catching and running, the spacing that we use, the dribble drive stuff that we teach, it all plays into it. Got to come in and take advantage. You got to compete. You got to fight. You got to fight for what you were. I was just with Doc Rivers and we were talking about Tyrese. He loves him. Tyrese is on a really good team. But I'm telling you, they look at his future and they're saying, Cal, I'm telling you, the kid is special. So, but it's good stuff. What else, Eric?
Two more here. She said you got a few more minutes. John Hale and Kyle will finish us off.
Cal, are you finished trying to add people to this roster, or does that depend on what Davion and Isaiah do? And then how important is it going to be to keep some scholarships open in this age of the free transfer rule?
Well, we, very rarely do we ever hit 13 scholarships. I mean, there have been times where we had 10, 11. I mean, again, this is a unique place. It's not for everybody. So we're not adding people just to add people. We have no intention of adding anybody now, but I'm sitting here telling you that, we're not out searching and I don't see anything. Would something happen late? I don't think so. I think we're where we are. Even if both Davion and Isaiah choose to stay in the NBA draft, then I think we'll stay right where we are. I don't see us doing anything else. And again, I'm proud of both of those kids. I mean, Davion's one of the great kids that I've coached. And let me say this about him. The most appreciative will tell you what we did for him and how this did it and how you made me shoot balls when I was not shooting. And now he has this opportunity. Would I love to coach he and Isaiah? Yes. But this is their opportunity. And if they choose to do it, I'd be fine. And we'll make do. Look, it's kids leaving this program has never hurt us. It just hasn't. And so whatever is right for them, we're supposed to add value to them. That's our job. That's what this program does. It adds value to you as a player, to who you are, who you're viewed as. In the NBA, it adds value. To shoe contract, it adds value. That's what we're supposed to be about. And if we love on them and care about them, and they worry about caring about each other and loving each other, because they know we got their back, this thing works for everybody and everybody eats. What happened where no summer, no fall, all the stuff, then guys struggled and it was for all of us to go through it makes you stronger, makes you really evaluate everything and go through everything, which is not all bad. But I'd rather not have lived through what I just lived through. I wish we would have won 2 games at the end of the season and snuck in the NCAA tournament and then did something crazy. I would have rather have that happened and dealt with what we're dealing with, but it didn't.
Kyle, wrap us up.
Yeah, Kyle, today, you've mentioned Davion as an option at point guard. You've talked about having 6 guards, which would obviously have to include Davion. In your mind, is there a good chance that you have him back then? It seems like you're entertaining that idea.
I don't know. I mean, again, this stuff is hard for the kids and their families. The thing that I try to do is say, okay, what's the downside? Can you deal with it? Here's the upside. And whatever these kids do, they decide to stay in the draft. I shift from anything other than who do I call? Teams are calling me. How do I help? How do I set up individual workouts so they can get the full view of where they are? But I'm just, however it happens, we'll make it work. And the biggest thing is you make it work for everybody. And the biggest thing is you become a family where everybody's sacrificing and everybody's doing their thing so we can be together. And look, we've done this and have had 4 lottery picks, 5 first rounders, 4 lottery picks. Every one of we've done that more than once. They've all sacrificed for each other. And no one was hurt by sacrificing. Matter of fact, you were helped. Most of our stuff, hopefully we get back to, will be practice, where NBA scouts are in our practice. It brings up the level of the practice. You get evaluated. It's good for everything. That was out of the picture last year. They weren't allowed to travel. No combine, no midnight madness. How about that? Taking that away from this program. So let's get back to who we are, what we're about. Let's get back to, we got to see where this thing is going forward and read the tea leaves a little bit. We've got to be prepared. And again, I may try some stuff, and I've done this on the court. I've done it with other things, and it doesn't work. Well, you pivot and you move. Try something else. Whatever we're doing, even within the staff, we may do, and we say that's not having any value. Let's do this different. So it's what I've always done throughout my career, whether it's coaching the game, coaching my team and looking forward, or putting a staff together. This is what I see. Well, within a year, it changed. And it may change. We may be in a call next year and you say, well, here's what we see came out of this. This, and this. How do you want to deal with that? So,
Guys, we'll end it there. Thank Coach for making a little extra time for everyone today.